G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I'm David. Today I don't have the smoke going at the bottom, no mosquitoes. When you see the smoke going in my videos it's because I've got burning mosquito coils to keep the mosquitoes away. Melbourne's always got mosquitoes everywhere, so that's why. So getting back to why I'm here today, this is a Trident maple I have in my collection. Today I want to talk about defoliation and why we defoliate trees. Now, defoliation works in a couple of ways, I think, anyway. These are my thoughts, and this is what I've experienced. So defoliation, obviously, you'll see once you defoliate the tree, you mean cut off all the leaves. You cut off all the leaves. That's pretty much easy, right? Cut off all the leaves. What grows back is smaller. But why are they smaller? The intention of defoliation is to actually increase the ramification of the branches, to have more branching develop. When you cut all the leaves off, the tree's forced to push new growth. That could also, what we really want is inner growth. You know, inside growth, not outside growth. You want inner buds forming, etc. So defoliation helps to make the tree push out new growth, and the new growth makes more branches, more twigs, and decreases the leaf size. I hope that explains that bit. That's why we want to defoliate. Now, what trees do defoliate? I have a thing where you listen to the tree. You actually listen to what it's telling you. It sounds bizarre, but that's how I think. I'm always pruning my trees in spring, always. You know, they're growing so much new growth. I prune them back, prune them back, prune them back. That pruning actually increases branch ramification. It makes more branches come out. Pushes back growth, has inner buds coming out, branches coming out from inside, etc. So a lot of my Tridents are still in that phase of cutting back, new growth, cutting back, new growth, cutting back, and it's pushing back the growth inside. So there's quite a few trees in my collection that are doing that. Those trees that are still doing that, still pushing the new growth and still having the back budding and ramification built by me pruning, just normally pruning the ends, I don't defoliate those trees yet. I only defoliate trees when they've stopped doing that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you guys. So this tree has stopped pushing the new growth on the tips. So now, this is what I think. Now it's ready for me to make it, encourage it to try and get back budding, trying to get smaller leaves, etc. Now it's ready. Now, I know people defoliate Tridents 3-4 times a year sometimes in Melbourne. It does lead to smaller leaves, smaller things. I just think you put pressure on, it's just not me. I listen to the tree's telling me it's ready for a new set of leaves now. And usually I only do one set. So I'll only do this once pretty much for this tree, and they're the final leaves that will be for autumn, etc. I do also find that when you defoliate, it prolongs, it delays the onset of autumn colours, which I've found as well in my experience. So it's a good thing to delay a little bit, which is good. But really, that's what I wanted to tell you. Defoliation is pretty easy. You just go through, cut all the leaves off. That's an easy process. You can have a look in a minute when I do that. But it's the reasons why I time and why I listen to the tree to tell me what to do. Yeah, I would not defoliate trees that are still pushing out new growth, because you're continually cutting them back, pruning them back, and that encourages back budding, that encourages inner growth, etc. So only when a tree has stopped doing that, that's when I want to encourage it to go again. Okay, so that's pretty much my really little rant, I guess, or not really rant, but a bit of my experience in why I defoliate, because it's important. So that's my thinking. Now I'll go ahead and defoliate this tree. Pretty straightforward. I pretty much start at the top because it's going to make a mess. Work my way from the top all the way to the bottom, cutting the leaves off. Now, I will zoom in just as on this, probably this little tree, with some of these branches, and you pretty much, I'm hoping we can catch it in, you pretty much cut half, I pretty much cut halfway, leave a little, the little, what do you call it, patchouli, I can't remember what it's called in scientific terms, but you pretty much cut the leaf, then there's a little stalk, cut the stalk halfway. Pretty easy. That's pretty much all I do. Those little stalks just die off, and new growth will come out. So that's my plan to do it. I'll just probably do a little time lapse on me cutting it all off, and should be it.
So I've totally defoliated the tree. You can see the lovely structure now it's in it. Fortunately the sun's not in the best spot, but I'm hoping you can see that pretty clear. Now if you've got a very keen eye, you might see some really inner buds that I haven't actually taken off. Now there's a couple right on the inside, tiny small buds that have just opened, or leaves that have just opened. So with those, I want to leave them small leafed, but they're doing really well. So really, that's really done. Just let it grow out and come up and so on. Pretty easy. But probably, obviously, we need a little water now because of there's no leaves for it to need to hydrate. So that's good. Lovely structure starting to build. I'm trying to get the growth that way to fill it out. The good news is there's a lot of inner buds happening, a lot of inner branching happening, and it's been really good. Still, the back needs a bit of work. It needs to fill out a bit more, so that's needing to happen. Now, as I said, this tree was ready for defoliation. I just want to take you quickly and show you why some of my other trees that I said are just doing. I'm just still cutting with the scissors and getting lots of ramification and growth in inner buds. So I'll take you around and show you that. So here's the Trident that's doing really well. It's a nice big one, and you can see the tips are still growing. Lots of new. I just gave it a haircut, a little bit of a haircut today, so you probably won't see as much growth as before. But that's a lot of inner branches growing, a lot of ramification going on, just simply from just clipping. Like, for example, this branch here. You need to cut that, and then it'll bud back in. So, the trees like this don't need it yet because it's still branching out. Lots of new growth still shooting out everywhere. See, like that stuff. So that's a good example. This is my root over rock. It's almost ready there to defoliate, but you can see the new growth. See the tips are still shooting. The tips are still shooting everywhere. So I wanted to do that. Keep doing that. So just by doing the clipping, it's doing. So I've got another Trident here that was a bit suffering a little bit because of the branching wasn't the best. So because I've given it a good hard trim, you can see all the new ends coming up, the new growth, and I'm getting inner buds. If I go in here, you can see the inner buds starting to happen. The inner shoots are nice and starting to shoot back a little bit. It's good. So that's why I haven't defoliated. I'm just letting it grow naturally, just by clipping away. And this is just the last one I'll show you, but you can see all the fresh new growth happening. This tree again was struggling a little bit, so by giving it a good trim, not defoliating, it's going to be lots of new growth, lots of inner buds shooting, so I don't need to do that. Anyway guys, hope that you enjoyed that video, and I'll stay tuned for more. See you later.